You know how we save everything to the cloud, right? Our photos, our music, our entire digital lives. We just kind of assume it's all safe and sound forever. But what if that whole idea of forever is just an illusion? What if it's all built on, well, digital sand? And I'm not just talking about your personal hard drive crashing. We've all been there. I'm talking about massive shared cultural archives just vanishing in an instant. So what's the real cost when our collective memory gets a delete key? Okay, so it all starts with this big myth that we've all bought into. The idea that the internet is some kind of permanent archive. We treat it like this new amazing Library of Alexandria, but the reality? It is way more fragile than we think. This quote from a former NTV journalist, wow, it just cuts right to the heart of it. See, unlike a physical book or an old photograph, digital stuff can be wiped out completely. One person, one decision can erase the master key, and then poof, everything's gone. And look, this isn't some theoretical what-if problem. This is happening right now. And one of the most glaring examples recently sent total shockwaves through the world of music and culture journalism. Just like that. In 2023, as part of a corporate downsizing thing, Paramount just pulled the plug. 2 decades of content, a cornerstone of music journalism for an entire generation, was just gone, wiped from the web because of a business decision. The scale of what we lost here is just staggering. I mean, we're talking about irreplaceable interviews with artists who are no longer with us. You can't just go get another interview from Nipsey Hussle or Biggie or Pac. These were unique cultural artifacts. And now they only exist in little fragments, or maybe on the personal hard drives of the journalists who made them. So deleting a corporate website is one thing, but what happens when this digital decay hits an independent creator, someone who has spent their entire life documenting their community's culture? Well, this is where the story gets deeply personal. For almost 2 decades, Africa Allah has been right there on the front lines. She's been creating podcasts, doing interviews, and building this massive archive of cultural content through her platform, the Discover Music channel. She's exactly the kind of creator who builds our cultural memory from the ground up. And then, in 2018, the unthinkable happens. Because of a server glitch during a wildfire, her work just disappeared. 12 years of content you just can't replace vanished overnight. She literally had to start all over from scratch. And to put a number on it, we're talking about over 5,000 individual audio files. This wasn't just a few things, it included 10 different shows that aired weekly on her network for years. The sheer volume of what was lost is just mind-boggling. And that right there is the human impact. For the person who created it, it's this profound, devastating loss. It's not just some files on a server, it's a life's work. This whole experience led Africa Allah to this really powerful concept, ethnocide. Think of it like a cultural genocide. When you systematically erase a group's contributions, their experiences, their voices, you are basically erasing their place in the bigger culture. It might not even be intentional, but the result is exactly the same. So why is this happening? Why is our digital history, which feels so permanent, actually so incredibly fragile? Well, it really boils down to a mix of economics and technology. The biggest reason? It's pretty simple. Money. We think of the cloud as this magical, infinite place. But the reality is, it's just a bunch of servers in a building somewhere. And that server space costs money. A lot of money. So when an archive is no longer seen as profitable, a company can just decide to stop paying for that server space, and all the history on it is gone. And now there's a new threat to worry about: artificial intelligence. As AI becomes the main way we get our information, the biases of its creators get coded right in. So if the data that's used to train these models doesn't include diverse voices and histories, well, the AI will simply learn that those voices don't matter. It will, in effect, erase them from the future of knowledge itself. Okay, so the problem is huge. The digital world is fragile, corporate interests can change on a dime, and AI is this giant looming threat. So, what can we actually do about it? How do we fight back and preserve our own culture? The first step is just to recognize how weak digital stuff can be and how strong analog is. Think about it. A book will never be obsolete. Handwriting will never be obsolete. Those physical photos of your grandparents, they'll never be obsolete. But how many file formats have come and gone? I mean, how many of us have old CDs or DVDs with literally no computer to play them on anymore? So what's our toolkit for becoming modern archivists? Number one, own your masters. It's just like in the music biz. Whoever owns the master file owns the rights, so read the fine print. Second, create physical backups on hard drives that you control. Don't trust your life's work to a single platform. And third, support the independent creators. People like Africa Allah are on the front lines, often funding their own servers just to preserve this culture, and that takes resources.
Ultimately, it really all comes down to this. The internet is not some infinite, friendly archive. It's a space that's owned by corporations, it's being shaped more and more by algorithms, and it's all subject to deletion. Preserving our history is an active fight, and it means we have to take ownership. Because if we don't, we risk being erased without a trace.